Representative Tom Suozzi, D. New York, was caught on video telling his constituents to take up arms against President Donald Trump. He was at a town hall meeting in Huntington, New York, addressing a crowd who reacted with nervous laughter. Representative Suozzi was not joking around as he doubled down, explaining that's what the Second Amendment is all about, which caused the New York congressman to get slapped with a brutal surprise. Representative Tom Suozzi is a numbskull who uses kids as propaganda tools to end the gun violence, but is, at the same time, telling his constituents to take up arms against the president because, in that case, he is all for the Second Amendment. If you're confused, you're not alone. This guy is the poster child for everything that's wrong with the Washington, D.C. swamp. Breitbart reports, Representative Tom Suozzi, D. New York, reportedly took time during a Huntington, New York, speech to suggest that people should take up arms against President Trump. Suozzi talked of putting pressure on Trump, saying, "This is where the Second Amendment comes in, quite frankly. Because what if the president was to ignore the courts? What would you do? What would we do?" An audience member responded by asking the essence of the Second Amendment, and Suozzi said, "The Second Amendment is the right to bear arms." According to the New York Post, nervousness was evident among attendees. National Republican Campaign Committee spokesman Chris Martin said, "This video is incredibly disturbing. It's surreal to watch a sitting member of Congress suggest that his constituents should take up arms against the President of the United States." The Suozzi campaign, at the same time, seemed to double down on the comments as they forwarded a line penned by Thomas Jefferson that called for armed resistance. What country can preserve its liberties if their rulers are not warned from time to time that their people preserve the spirit of resistance? Let them take arms, the quote said. If that's not doubling down on an armed threat to the president, then I don't know what is, and this idiot congressman is entirely schizophrenic. Suozzi participated in the March 14 student walkout for gun control outside of the U.S. Capitol and called on the young people of his district to back tightened gun laws. Then, he's caught on video telling his constituents to take up arms against the duly elected President of the United States. This guy is nuts. In another clip, which he posted to Twitter, he is outside the Capitol dome, joining the anti-gun propaganda walkout on March 14. Suozzi tweeted, "Look at all of those students. What an inspiring group. We need to listen to them and keep this young people's movement going so we can stop this senseless gun violence." Number Enoisano. I watched when a woman asks him what they can do since Trump refuses to sanction Russia, which Suozzi represents as something all of Congress has agreed to. He says take up arms. This guy's town hall should be titled "Lies and More Lies from a World-Class Liar." Well, this liar isn't getting away with his shenanigans. Immediately, the Secret Service was dispatched after this video went viral. I'd love to hear Representative Suozzi's explanation to the Secret Service since, on the video, it's clear he is ratcheting up his constituents with lies about the president. Twitter user Gitmo tweeted, "Democrat calls for taking up arms against President Trump." Democratic rep from New York, Tom Suozzi, sounds like a very dangerous man and should be stopped. Americans across the country joined the outrage on social media, like Taduka Tinglebs, who tweeted, "Representative Tom Suozzi, D. New York, suggested in a speech that Dems should take up arms against @Real Donald Trump." This is hilarious for a few reasons. Most laughable, the day the Dems take up arms is the day there is forever no more a Democratic Party. Charles Benjamin tweeted, "Dem. Representative Tom Suozzi implied that Americans should grab weapons and oppose President Trump by force if the commander-in-chief doesn't follow the Constitution. How about Americans kicking this pose's ass for disrespecting the President of the United States?" Yeah, and he did more than just disrespect Trump. He lied about the president and told his people to take up arms against him. Darrell Standing tweeted, "Report, Democrat representative suggests taking up arms against President Trump." The Democrat clown party members keep trying to one-up each other in sheer stupidity and criminality. Representative Tom Suozzi is suggesting armed insurrection time for Gitmo.